Welcome to the Vantage HR Influencers Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Vantage Circle, the simple and AI-powered rewards and recognition platform for employee engagement.
Subtle or blatant discrimination can be seen everywhere in our day-to-day lives. The workplace is no exception. However, many leaders choose to believe that discrimination in the workplace doesn't exist. Discrimination can be in the little acts themselves. Sometimes, the leader of an organization can remain oblivious to the judgment that an employee might face from his colleagues, superiors, or manager. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Vantage Influencers Podcast. I am your host, Gautam. In today's episode, we will discuss confronting workplace discrimination. And for a topic so intense and sensitive, we have just the right person. Let's welcome Eva Krishna. Eva is currently working as HRBP in Reliance Retail with 4 years and 3 months of experience in the HRBP domain. Responsible for ELCM as roles and responsibilities, she is a person who strongly believes in a cause and effect relationship. As an HR person, she is very focused on introducing and continuing human touch in this business function, but not compromising on upskilling and introducing the technologies simultaneously. Hello, Eva. A warm welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Gautam. Hi to your listeners. I'm very, very fortunate to be part of your podcast today. And actually, as you said and suggested in the starting of the thing, that it is actually a very sensitive matter wherein the workplace discrimination comes into place.
Right.
So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Eva, for joining us today. And I think you are one of the best people who can talk about this, considering you work in the retail as well. And I think, it's quite an intense workplace where, so much keeps happening every day. So before we can get to start with the main topic, would you like to brief us about yourself, like something I might have missed mentioning about you?
Sure. So as you have already introduced me, I will only add to your point that I have been into Reliance Jio prior to Reliance Retail, wherein I've spent 3.5 years of my total experience. And I have been part of a lot of geographical changes. So I have worked in East, I have worked in North. I'm currently actually working in North. And I've also worked in, West. So there has been a cultural shift in my, throughout my career. And I have been into full employee life cycle management, as you suggested, wherein we have everything taken care end to end by me. And also, while I've joined retail, the exposure have been more into, B2B segment here. So this is what is extra apart from what you have said about me.
That's great.
So that's all for me. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much, Eva. So I think, considering that you have come from so many cultural backgrounds, you have gotten to live those experiences as well. And I think when you see so many changes, you also come across various discrimination, I believe, considering from culture to culture, place to place, region to region. So, in your entire span of your career, what do you think can be considered as discrimination in the workplace?
If we talk about discrimination at workplace, I would like to, highlight here that there has been a lot of legal thing related to discrimination at workplace if you go and Google. Mm-hmm. But we actually are not aware of it, that there are a lot of rules and regulations about maintaining this discrimination and not having a single discrimination, maybe even not at workplace, even calling out somebody's name. And there are a lot of segments which we can consider as workplace discrimination. I have been very, very fortunate on this, that because I've joined such a big organization and everything being into place, policies being very strict, I have not 100% faced discrimination as other people might be facing. Mm-hmm. But I would say that we are kind of unaware of things which we think that, they are just doing for fun. but once you go and read out the articles and the document, it is actually considered and categorized as discrimination. For example, if we crack any offensive jokes, or we call out, for example, my name is A and I call out B, and then I make fun out of it, that can also be considered as discrimination. So if you talk about me as an individual, I have been very, very strong and upfront if I face discrimination. We being a part of organization, we have to know when we need to have a full stop or a line of control with our colleagues and our managers. We actually give chance to people to discriminate us. So I think we should be very, very conscious about these things, and we should take our own stand. That will actually stop, I think, 30 to 40% of discrimination at workplace.
Sure. I think when you said that sometimes it is just the small little things. It could be like, they can say that, it's just for fun. But it could be, casual homophobia or casual bully as well, which people do not know how it might trigger other people. So in that scenario, can you cite a few more examples of workplace discrimination? Because we usually know that making fun of somebody's cultural background or sexuality or gender are normal. But are there more examples of workplace discrimination?
Of course, if we talk about age can also be considered as a discrimination. So I will not, maybe hire, or maybe I will not keep person above this age limit or age group. That can also be considered as discrimination, wherein, you might not know that a person who is at maybe 50 years of age can perform better than a person who is, very young and very charming in nature. So that can also be a kind of discrimination at workplace. Also, once we move forward, we categorize. So it depends on company to company. We also tend to discriminate among colleagues, wherein you're from this college and I'm from this college, according to the college. The culture which you already cited, and the national origin can also be a part of discrimination. And according to me, Gautam, we tend to influence or affect people very harshly on their mental condition once we are discriminating them on workplace. So we should be very, very conscious about it. Maybe we are doing just for fun, but it can actually affect a lot to the person we are discriminating or we are talking about.
Yes.
So we now need to be very, very conscious. And also there is one more thing which have come into picture is for women especially. When they are in their maternity phase or during their pregnancy phase, people tend to treat them as they are less productive, or they once they come back from the leave, so they find their workplace to be not as friendly as they have left, as if their productivity has decreased or the way of performing has decreased. So internet being a very, very strong function as on date today, we tend to scroll and see a lot of videos on this, on maybe on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, wherein people are making videos of this, and they actually educate people.
Sure.
So I was going, 2-3 days back, I was going through a video on Instagram wherein the discrimination at workplace regarding to the maternity thing was actually taken into consideration, and they actually showed that maternity or any pregnancy cannot stop you from being as productive as you were before and after.
Okay, sure.
So these are all also categorized as.
Thank you so much, Eva. And considering you are in a senior HR position and you are in one of the leadership positions, so how can leaders and HRs at work address the issue of workplace discrimination? Because it is not an easy matter to discuss. We believe, because a lot of people do not want to come up and speak about it. So how can leaders address the issue?
So you might be aware that once you join a company, there has been a lot of legal related things which you come to do while you are into training or ready to roll things.
Yes.
Wherein you are actually you already do a POSH related course. We can actually make this, like we have made POSH a part of this, we can also make this discrimination at workplace also a module which every person who enters a company would deal with it, read about it, and get information about it. The person who is doing it would be aware that, that this can have legal implications. So we can introduce our training module in the start of the company sessions, wherein this can, at least ring a bell in your mind that, if I do this, this can result in this. This is the first thing which I would suggest.
Okay.
Secondly, I would suggest that once this matter, a person who is bold enough to come and say you this, or to the leader should be firstly able to listen it. The leader should not listen to answer. The leader should, act. So there has been a lot of incidences when you sit and listen to the person, half of the problem is solved there, and the person also gets the answer about it, and then actually taking action on it. So maybe if it is not possible to immediately have make a policy or do anything about it, you should at least assure that person and do something about it. Maybe document it, maybe a warning letter kind of a thing, or maybe do something so that person can have trust on you and trust on the organization, that organization will not 100% be against you, or it will take action for you. So organization is with that person. That should be the affirmity or the confirmation while somebody is filing a complaint.
I think you made a great point here, and which is why in Vantage Circle we have our own product called Vantage Pulse Survey, where these are feedback surveys or employee surveys which are completely anonymous, and where workplace discrimination and diversity and inclusion is an important part, where employees can describe if they're feeling any uncomfortability in their organization, and which is why I think addressing this issue should be right from the hiring stage, like you said, and that is when people get more and more exposure and have the courage to speak that yes, this is a safe workplace. So, thank you so much, Eva, for that amazing response. And I remember you saying about women, that, how women also get subjugated or discriminated during the maternity period or pregnancy period. But I think, in total, overall, women do get subjugated at some point of time in the workplace. So do you believe promoting gender equality, diversity and inclusion, helps nurture workplace equity and decreases workplace discrimination?
Gautam, you have made a lot of good points here, but I would like to say one thing. Gender equality and diversity, everything is done, but women as an individual need to take stand for themselves. Women as an individual need to, stop thinking that they are equivalent to boys or they are equivalent to a male person. They are more, if not more. We need to think that we need to develop ourselves as a woman. So nowadays, when you talk to a lot of people, you'll come to know that women actually want to become like men.
Yeah.
And I really and honestly disagree to this, because if we become a woman, a perfect woman in ourselves, we are better than anybody else in this universe. So my point is ki, the company will do their work. They will start doing diversity. They will make rules in gender equality, pay equality, lot of things. But we as a woman should take stand for ourselves. Not think ourselves as a man. We should develop ourselves as a woman. There are a lot of things where what we should accept that we can't do it. We should start accepting ourselves as a woman. This is what I practice, and I would suggest anyone who is listening to us to start practicing this, that I should develop myself as a woman, not comparing myself with the men. And other things are actually, Gautam, taking care of legal things. Laws are there. If we see anything like that, we should stand up and take the ownership and, just speak there, then and there. if we sit back and think about it and keep on talking about it in our comfort level or in our groups, the problem is still the same. It will not be solved.
Thank you, Eva. I think, I just wanted to keep listening to you when you said that, women have to be women and they don't have to try to become like men. I think that is where the difference lies, that, you do not have to be a man. You can do everything just being a woman by yourself. Yeah, and I think you have made a great point here. And I think this will give many women that courage to become themselves and not somebody else who they want to become. I think that's a great way of saying that, this
Absolutely.
discrimination process is sometimes also within ourselves, that you tend to feel inferior. Oh my God, I'm a woman. Is this why he's telling me? But at the same time, you really need to say that, so what? Let them say whatever they want to, but I am just myself. And that's what makes me, basically, right?
And Gautam, it is okay that something we can't do. Nobody can do everything in this world. Let us accept it that this is not my thing. Woman as a nature is of soft in nature, polite in nature, nurturing in nature. We should try and develop ourselves that way rather than starting, abusing and, doing things which make us feel manly. I don't think that is something which a woman should incorporate, or feminism does not mean that, or discrimination does not end there.
I think accepting differences.
So this is what my personal opinion is.
This is completely a valid point. I think accepting differences is what makes an environment equal, right? I think that's the step towards equality, where we understand each and everyone's differences and accept them.
Absolutely. Then only we'll be able to respect each other,
Sure.
We are made differently, but we should try to master ourselves rather than try. No man wants to become like a woman. Does they want to become like woman? No. Then why does woman wants to become like men? This is what makes me feel and think about it twice.
Sure. And I think when we speak about being different, the first thing that comes up to our mind is, LGBTQIA community or sexual minorities or any other minority for that matter. Somebody who is quite different from the usual, from the conventional. So, when we speak about this community per se, so what steps must we take to eradicate discrimination against, sexual minorities and other minorities in general?
If we talk about this step, I already mentioned that, first thing is to stop it by yourself. You need to speak for yourself, because not every time any person from the company or any time your manager or somebody else will be there with you. So first of all, we need to develop ourselves that way that we should go and confront and stop it then and there. So once we talk about people who get promotion or somebody who gets, a higher pay. So if we perform whole year, if we are meeting our KRAs, we are meeting our target, and if still I see that somebody is performing 80, I am performing 90, and he's getting or she's getting something better than me, I should take stand for myself. If I am not taking stand for myself, that means my 90% has gone into waste. If I sit back and say my manager does like this and she or he supports him, so why can't you go and I'm saying this in my comfort group. The person who is actually being discriminated will not go out of their comfort group and discuss the same. They will always sit in their comfort group and discuss this, which actually make them more vulnerable to this discrimination. So I think we should first, if we start with the first step now, that taking stand for yourself and being your own supporter, I would say that would stop, I think, 50%. And then other things are there. I have been mentioning it from start that we have a lot of legal things in place. Companies, government, a lot of legal bodies are legal. Things are there at place wherein if we think that this is beyond our control, we can approach them.
Right.
Definitely we can do that. And I think this will solve almost 70% of this. And then there are also a lot of discrimination when it comes, which is to be dealt at, different levels. So depending. case-to-case basis, it changes. But, there are a lot of minor discrimination which can be stopped there, then and there.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Eva. And with this, we are slowly approaching towards the end of our conversation today. So in the end, like overall, how would you like to conclude your thoughts on confronting discrimination in the workplace?
Gautam, there is no end of this, but I would really say that
Sure.
you have to be your own supporter, and you have to be there for yourself. And discrimination is something which we also knowing or unknowingly do. We should always look back to ourselves and have a check and balance on ourselves too. So if we tend to know about discrimination and control ourselves, we will be able to stand for ourselves also. So let's first start with ourselves, and then take stand for ourselves. If we feel that we are being discriminated, we should always stand for ourselves and not wait for somebody else to come and protect us. Nobody can, at least in workplace, I would say, nobody is there to protect you. You are your own savior.
Wow, I think that's a great point that you have made, and I'm so glad that you agreed to speak to us today on this topic, because you have given us so many insights on discrimination, and it was like an eye-opener. So at the end, like you said, the change should begin from us. If we are talking about discrimination, saying that this should not happen, then maybe at some point of time, you're also doing some things that might offend other people. So you need to have that cautious mind in yourself as well, that, if I do this, this will happen. And at the same time, this equals to discrimination at some point of time. I think that's a wonderful topic that you have discussed today. And thank you so much, Eva, for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, Gautam. Thanks a lot.
And how can our listeners reach out to you? Suppose if they have to contact you for any reason or for any talk or anything, how can they reach out to you, Eva?
So they can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Eva Krishna. They can search and they can reach out to me anytime.
Okay, sure.
So you can share the LinkedIn handle if you want to share.
Yeah, sure. We will share that on our post. And
because, it is very easy to connect over LinkedIn while you are, wanting to connect for professional things.
Sure. Thank you so much, Eva. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure.
Thanks a lot, Gautam. It was wonderful speaking to you.
Sure, it was a pleasure talking to you, and I think our listeners will be so enlightened by listening to you. And this topic, again, this was such a sensitive topic, and you made this sound so easy. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Gautam. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Sure. And listeners, please keep listening to Vantage Influencers podcast for more such enlightening content on company culture and employee engagement. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Vantage HR Influencers podcast. Please do subscribe to Vantage HR Influencers podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and our YouTube channel for new episodes.